Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and welcome to my predictions for Royal Rumble 2025. One of the most stacked Rumble cards ever. We have 4 matches to go through. All 4 could potentially steal the show, and the 2 Rumble matches, in particularly the men's, are looking very tasty, extremely unpredictable. We're going to go through the entire card and we're going to predict who is going to go on their way to WrestleMania. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I think it's going to be unlikely that we're going to be live on Wrestling Network tomorrow, sadly. But obviously do go subscribe over there. Let's get into the show then. 4 matches. Let's start with the first one. We kick things off with the tag team titles on the line in a 2 out of 3 falls matches. So the best tag teams in the world, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, DIY, face Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns. Motor City Machine Guns' first ever pay-per-view. DIY's first pay-per-view since WrestleMania. First time the tag belts have been defended since WrestleMania on a main card. Great to see, because we need more of that, and this match will be fantastic. I mean, Motor City Machine Guns are one of the greatest tag teams of the last 20 years. DIY are one of the best tag teams of the last decade. I would have this open the show because I think it can get the crowd into it, and if the reaction to this is good, hopefully it means we get more tag team title matches on pay-per-view, because they really are great, especially at SmackDown. That division is heating up. I can see us going towards some kind of triple threat with the Street Profits at Mania, maybe in a ladder match or something like that. I'm going to take DIY to retain here because I feel like they can do some kind of dastardly stuff, given they're the heels, and it's 2 out of 3 falls. I feel like they'll go 1-1, obviously, and maybe a low blow from Gargano will win the last one. But I do ultimately think that Gargano and Ciampa will retain the titles for now. In our second match of the night, the Women's Royal Rumble, I think there's going to be a lot of debuts, returns, surprise entrants in this. So we're actually going to predict a couple now. In terms of debuts, I think Jordynne Grace will obviously be in it. It's not been announced, but it's basically been announced she'll be in the match. In terms of returns, well, from NXT, I think they will feature some NXT talent. I think we're going to get Roxanne Perez and Stephanie Vaquer. I think they'll be the 2. I don't think they'll go for Julia because she's the champion. And in terms of returns, I think we're going to get Lita and Trish Stratus, Michelle McCool and Layla, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, who's already been announced, and then the big return that everyone's going to want to see happen, and I think it might, due to CM Punk's comments, AJ Lee. I think this might be the year we get that return. So I'm going to predict that AJ Lee gets in. In terms of the winner, I might be speaking with my heart over my head here. I'm going to say Io Sky wins. A lot of people want to see Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. There have been reports they're going to go for Charlotte versus Tiffany. I think a lot of people are saying Becky, maybe Liv Morgan. I think we could be going to one other prediction just off the top of my head. Nikki Bella. I think Nikki Bella might be in the match as well. I think they'll go for Becky versus Lyra versus Liv in a triple threat at WrestleMania because those 3 have history. I think Io versus Rhea makes the most sense because they've been building to that match adjacently. I think we'll get the return of Jade Cargill as well. But my prediction is Io Sky to win the Rumble. The Undisputed WWE Championship will be on the line in a ladder match as the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defends against Kevin Owens, which I suppose will be the end of this feud. And if it is, this has been a fantastic feud. I've loved it. I think this has been the highlight of Cody's reign as champion so far. I think it's been a really good run for him. I think the AJ matches were great. I thought the Logan Paul match was very good. I thought the solo matches were as good as they could be. This, to me, has been the real peak of his reign, and Owens has been on fire recently with some of these promos. Cody's been great as well. That segment at Saturday Night's Main Event I thought was fantastic. Like I said last week, I think they're going for Kevin versus Sami at Mania, but I think Cody's going to retain here. And I think after that segment on Raw between Cody and Punk, they're really teasing that Cody is starting to be burdened by the championship and is slowly starting to turn heel. But I don't think you can tell that story and turn him heel whilst he's not champion, because that's the whole thing that's making him lose his friends and become a bit more heavy is the head that wears the crown. So for me, he has to be champion when they turn him heel. And I think he's going to retain here, and that might influence who I've got winning the Rumble, But my prediction is Cody retains, but it's a ladder match. Owens will do some kind of mental stuff, a bit like maybe Cena did to Edge in Canada in 2006. I can't remember which pay-per-view it was at. I think it was Unforgiven. Can also tease that Cody heel turn a little bit more, but Cody will retain. And then in what I presume will be the main event, the men's Royal Rumble match. One of the most stacked Rumbles maybe ever since I'd say maybe 2001, 1992 really. I feel like there's about 10 different people that could win this, from John Cena, obviously in his last Rumble match, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso. They could go extremely strong and have Penta win it out of the blue. Again, I think we might see a few less returns than in the Women's Rumble. I think we will see a couple debuts, maybe a couple NXT call-ups. In terms of NXT, I think Trick Williams will almost certainly be in there. In terms of any TNA people, I think we're going to get two, and I'm going to say it's going to be Jeff Hardy and then the TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry. In terms of my prediction, this is a difficult one because at first it was Cena, because I thought, well, his last year they'll have him, and then Cena versus Cody is the match. However, I don't think they're going to have Cena just come back in after not winning for nearly 7 years and just proceed to just win the Rumble. I think it's more going to be a case of they build up to it. I think he gets to a match at Mania by winning the Chamber, but I think he loses at Mania and goes into a situation of his last match is to become the 17-time world champion against maybe Gunther, maybe Cody, if he's still champion by then. In terms of who could win, I mean, Jacob Fatu again is another shout. You've got all kinds of different shouts. But my prediction is going to be CM Punk. Now, I know I predicted him last year, and obviously he ended up finishing as the runner-up. I feel like just after watching that Punk versus Cody segment, I now want to see Punk versus Cody at Mania. And I've said this ever since their segment last year. Cody wins the title at Mania 40, Punk wins the Rumble. That's where they should go. I've been 100% on that. Either it's Cody versus Randy or Cody versus Punk for me. Randy will obviously be there as well. Sammy was my initial shout, but I think it's going to be CM Punk, and I think we get to a stage of where it's CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns versus either Seth Rollins or somebody else that we'll talk about, John Cena versus Gunther, and then I'm not too sure what everyone does. I don't want to see Logan versus Seth again because I feel like it's a waste of Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I just hope there isn't too much bloodline stuff in the Rumble. A little bit here and there, but not have it be centered around the entire match. I think Roman is going to be the focal point of the match because you have all these people that are gunning for him. So I feel like they could almost do a Cena in 2013 spot where all these people just gang up on Roman and he then has to fight it off. But I'm not too sure. However, my one last bold prediction for the match, and I don't know if this is too bold because I've seen a lot of people say it, I don't think this is going to have 30 entrants, this match. Now, you might be thinking, well, it's a 30-man match, so it must do. I think we're going to have a little appearance from the final boss himself, The Rock. Now, again, this could be heart over head. I think we have the 30 entrants, and then The Rock will use his TKO power to get himself as number 31 in the Rumble. I don't think he wins it. I think the final four will be Cena, Rock, Punk, and Roman. And I feel like Rock and Roman slowly start to build that because people really want to see Rock versus Roman. And for me, it really should happen in Vegas a year after Rock and Roman teamed together and Roman lost the title, which caused all this fighting in Bloodline. You can then have High Chief versus Tribal Chief. Winner is the head of the family. You've already had it with Roman and Solo. We're not going to a rematch of that. Just do Rock versus Roman this year. It's high time to get this match done. They wanted to do it last year. It wasn't the right time. Now is the right time. Rock versus Roman. Cody versus Punk. To me, it just writes itself. Charlotte versus Tiffany. Io versus Rhea. Becky versus Liv versus Lyra. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Jacob versus Solo. to me, it writes itself, but I have no idea what is going to be in this Mania card, and that's the thing that is great about the Rumble, because especially this year, everything seemed fairly predictable of where they were going to go, and they have completely flipped that on its head. So, my 2 predictions for the Rumbles: CM Punk to win the men's, and then the women's to be won by Io Sky. But what are yours? Let me know yours down in the comments below.
Let me tell you, wanna see you fly, way up on my side, till the day I die, we're headed for the silver line. Let me tell you, wanna see you move, cause there's room for 2, every day, every night, we turn up to 9-9. Hey, hey, hey. Turn up to 9-9. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Turn up to 9-9.